Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we unfortunately lost to the Vegas Golden Knights in the second round of the playoffs. It was kind of expected to, in a sense, because they have a very good forward core, and our team was not doing too well defensively in the first round, so I kind of figured we were going to lose in the second round. We went to 7 games just like we did in the first round, but unfortunately this time around, we ended up losing. We did have a 3-1 series lead at one point, as you can see, but then we lose 5-4, lose only by a goal. Then we lose by a goal in overtime, and then we lose by a goal in Game 7. So basically, just those last 3 games, if we would have had at least one more goal, maybe 2 more goals, we could have won those games. But unfortunately, the Vegas Golden Knights end up winning those very tight games. But all in all, I'd say it was a good effort from the boys again this season. It just sucks because more than likely, I feel like we're going to have a pretty big retirement this offseason. And if we don't, then it is going to come very soon, probably anyways. But as you can see, here's our player stats from our playoff run. Parrott, Keith, Claxton, like, just in general, our depth scoring was really good on this team. It's just, like, the lack of defensive play, though, is there. You can see with the plus-minus issue, like, -6 for Darby and Jorgensen. Like, I don't know how Denny, though, was a +7, while everybody else was really badly minus, pretty much, so. But at least the future of this team is still bright with some of the young guys and some of the older guys still that we'll have in our lineup for next season. But I do think our team has its window probably closed on winning another Stanley Cup. There is a chance that we could win another one, but I think it's probably very slim. So that is that. Let's get into wrapping up the rest of the season because we didn't actually take a look at the retirements in last episode. We didn't take a look at the award winners yet, that type of thing, just because I wanted to wait to this episode because I feel like we might end up losing Jorgensen to retirement. And if we do, I wanted to be on the start of an episode, not late in an episode when maybe some people aren't watching still. So let's get into this and see who ends up retiring and also take a look at those award winners because we should have a few of them, I think. And yeah, then we'll see what we're able to do this offseason in terms of keeping this team together. But yeah, I feel like we're definitely going to suffer a retirement to Jorgensen this year. But if we don't, I will be pretty surprised, I think. So the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to go on to win the Stanley Cup. And our AHL team won the Calder Cup. Our AHL team won the Calder Cup this year. That's actually awesome. I didn't know our team was doing that well. So the Burnaby Aces are your Calder Cup champions. So that's at least something positive to take from last season. Let's take a look at those player stats, see who was doing what in the playoffs. So Stanley Burns is doing really good. He was also on our Stanley Cup winning team, but he never played a game with us. Future prospects like Leeson, who's going to be in our lineup maybe next season, was down there. So yeah, I can kind of see why our HL team did as good as they did. It's good to see. Nicholas Kronwall was down there too, which is cool since he won a Stanley Cup with us as well. Howe has played some games before we called him up. Bissick was fantastic in the playoffs, 8-1-2, and then Volk was really good too, 8-2 through 10 games and 927. More than likely, both these guys are going to be probably on the cusp of the NHL next season, which means likely Taze is going to be let go of this offseason, unfortunately. But that's good to see our AHL team winning the Calder Cup. Was not expecting that. So there's a good positive to take away from the season. Let's look at those award winners now and wrap up the season. So the Pittsburgh Penguins win the Stanley Cup. Who did they beat, though, for the Cup is the question. It was Vegas. Okay, so Vegas got as far as the Stanley Cup Finals. I was expecting Vegas to win the Stanley Cup after them beating us, but they get to the Finals and lose to Pittsburgh. We'll definitely take a look at the roster for the Pittsburgh Penguins as well, just to see if there's any former players on that team. So Malachi Galante, Art Ross, and the Hart. Yeah, there's Morgan Denny with the Norris, which is funny to see. Didn't expect this guy to all of a sudden bounce up for a Norris winning season, but there is a Norris winner for us in our lineup. That's great to see too. Gallant wins the Lady Byng. Tervanen wins the Calder for Ottawa. McEachern wins the Conn Smythe for Pittsburgh. Don't know who that is. Ekblad wins the Vezina for Tampa Bay. The Islanders goaltender Garnett wins the Jennings. Pulling out the Masterton. Ferraro the Adams for the Washington Capitals. Guerin wins another Selke trophy, so we don't have a Selke trophy this year. And then Gallant wins the Lindsay, and Mangone and DeMello are going to share the Maurice Richard. Interesting. AHL award-wise, any awards for our AHL team? Shannon Eichel was the best defenseman in the AHL this year. That's funny. Former defender of us. Stanley Burns was the best player in the Calder Cup playoffs. Yep, kind of expected that, and that's pretty much it for awards. Okay, let me take a look actually at that Pittsburgh Penguins winning team before we get to the retirements, because we might have Jorgensen retire, and I don't want to see that just yet. Soon we'll rip off the Band-Aid if that is the case. Let's see what Pittsburgh had on their cup-winning team. So this was the McEachern guy that won the Conn Smythe. He was the 69th overall pick in 2026, and he's dropping off quite a bit. It looks like Continen, Paul. Don't recognize any of these guys so far. Yeah, it doesn't look like any former players of ours so far. Terrence Gagliardi, why do I remember that name? Chicago. Oh, okay, I think I remember playing against him in the playoffs before. I actually know it was in Seattle. Yeah, it was definitely with Seattle, why I recognize that guy's name. He goes on to win a Stanley Cup. Not a former player, but still. And goalie-wise, Magnus Hornquist. So no former players that won the Stanley Cup with the Penguins, but still there is the cup-winning team, and you can see why. Very good depth scoring throughout their lineup. Like when this guy has 16-plus points, and he's an 83. That's pretty good. Okay, now we got to rip off that Band-Aid and find out if we did, in fact, lose Jorgensen this year. I really hope we didn't, but at the same time, it would make sense, and it would be kind of good because he was eating up a lot of cap space. So Arizona's got the first overall pick this year, followed by Colorado, Dallas, Florida, and New Jersey. And let's see, what did we get for retirements? And yes, we lost Jorgensen. I knew it was going to be the case. Shane Wright retires as a Cup champion, which is pretty cool. So shout out to Shane Wright. But Mats Jorgensen has decided to call it quits at the age of 36. I was expecting that kind of. He was the last goal that was scored in this in that last playoff round too, and he scored exactly 500 goals in his career, 1,342 points in 1,558 games. This kind of stings. Our captain is gone, but it makes sense to send him off with the 2 cups at least. And likely Avery Parrott will be our next captain in line, but what a long career for Jorgensen. He had a really good career playoffs as well, 124 points in 154 games. And yeah, those 2 cup wins, well, especially this one here in 35-36. Was that a cup winning season? Or was that the year we lost in the finals? I think that was the year we lost in the finals. Because, actually, yeah, we won the cup here. He had 14 points, and we won the cup here. So, yeah, this was the year that we lost to the New York Islanders, I'm pretty certain. But he just showed up a lot of the time in the playoffs. Had 12 game-winning goals in the playoffs, too, which is huge. This guy will definitely be missed. Obviously, his plus-minus was a big issue just because of him being here in the early years. But, yeah, we're definitely going to miss this man. Will he get into the Channel Hall of Fame is the question. I don't know. But I really hope he kind of does in a sense. But there's a lot of guys I would like to say that for. So, but Jorgensen's best season was 20-32-33 when he had 88 points. His most goals in the season was in 20-36-37 when he had 37 goals. Yeah, he was a great player. Never scored a shorthanded goal for us, which is interesting. Let's take a look at those fun stats. Over 2,000 hits as well. 346 block shots. Really good takeaway numbers as well in his career. Yeah, we're going to miss this guy quite a bit. But best of luck in retirement there, Mats. Hopefully you make it to the Hall of Fame one day. If you do not, then you are one of the best captains we've had probably in the last few years, I'd say. Any other former players? Let's go to forwards first. Actually, let's go by each position just to make this a little bit easier. See if there's any former players of us that we drafted that retired as well. Because there could be. As we're in that stage now where all these EA-generated guys are going to start retiring too. Which is kind of nuts. So no former centers, any former left wingers. Jeff Cox, I think. Yep, Jeff Cox retires. The former 5th rounder of us in 2024. He had some solid years in the bottom 6. I still sorted by that. Let's go this way. Boom. Yeah, he hasn't played actually in quite some time. He only played for us. But he was a solid bottom 6 option. Not the best player in the world, but he was still one of our first ever picks in his franchise mode. He never picked up really much points in the playoffs at all either, but yeah, never won a Stanley Cup too, because I think that one was a loss. Any other former players? Doesn't look like it on the left wing front. Let's go to right wing wise. We know that Jorgensen obviously retired. Jorgensen retired with more points than Caulfield, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Any other former players? Frederick D. Nicola. That's one. 62 points in 328 games. He was a former 5th rounder of us in year number 1 officially. Or year number 2, I guess. Because Jorgensen was year 1, which is 2022. But this guy was more of a career like depth kind of option / 4th liner. He wasn't huge on us. Like, he played only a few seasons with us, 4 years. And then he played in the AHL a bit. But still, he retires at the age of 36. And that's it for right wingers. Defensively, any former defenders? Not looking like it. Oh, Nicholas Kronwall retired as a Calder Cup champion and a Stanley Cup champion at 1.2. Well, that kind of sucks. I kind of felt like he was going to retire, though, because he was regressing quite a bit. But, Nicholas Kronwall, at least you won a Stanley Cup. That's a cool thing. Yeah, he was really good in that year that we won the Stanley Cup with him in the lineup. Was a great lockdown defender. Former 3rd rounder in 2025. So best of luck to retirement to Nicholas Kronwall as well. This Voutilainen guy as well. Juha Voutilainen, former 6th rounder of us in the same year as Jorgensen. He retires at 36 as well. Never really did much for us. Played 3 years and then played 2 years in the AHL and then we let him walk. But best of luck to Juha Voutilainen. And that might be it. Any former goaltenders? No former goaltenders retired. So those are the only retirements. Of course, Jorgensen being the biggest one. So we salute you to Jorgensen, our former captain. And yeah, Avery Parrott's going to be driving this ship for probably the rest of the way. Well, that sucks, but we kind of felt like it was going to happen. That's why I left it to the start of this episode instead of having it near the end of last episode. But we also did not lose any coaches, I don't think. Yeah, we didn't lose any coaches. That's good. Okay, we still have the entire offseason to get through, so we got to get through that quickly because we don't want this episode being super long. And then I probably will pre-record the season simulation. I don't really know. But let's get to this draft anyways. Even though a lot of these guys won't be on our roster next season or any season for that matter. Where are we even drafting? Is this guy named Milan McCulloch out of curiosity? It is. That's funny. Milan McCulloch Jr. playing defense. That's funny. Okay, so let's see what we could find here for late round steals. Do we got any potential low elites I could pin? Or late round medium elites or something? Probably not. This guy's 4 years out, which makes me feel like he's a low elite, but I don't really know. I almost don't really care about this draft at all, but honestly, I want to get good prospects in still. Aldrich Klepitz, low elite offense or DFD. I thought it said offensive defenseman. I'll pin him. He actually might be our 1st round pick, to be honest. This guy's supposed to be a 7th rounder. He's also got low elite potential, so I'll pin him. Kendrydov might be low elite, but I don't know for sure. Lorenzo Curry. Yeah, this might not be a good draft class. Who knows? But let's take a look at the top 5 anyways. Arizona at number 1 is going to take Rivers, who's an 82 overall medium elite playmaker. There he is. We're not going to get to see this guy's career develop too much, but oh well. Colorado at number 2 is going to take Pekka Rinne, who's an 82 overall sniper. So not a unanimous number 1 overall pick this year, huh? Going to be a solid player there for the Avs there, though. Dallas at 3 takes Bugner, 78 overall playmaker. Pretty solid. Florida at number 4 is going to take McCulloch. So Milan McCulloch has gone to Florida. It's funny. Yeah, good shutdown DFD kind of guy. Old school defenseman. And New Jersey at number 5 is going to take Rupp, who is an 80 overall sniper, medium elite. With potentially no zone ability. So there you go. He's only 17 now. Let's into our pick at 26 and see what we could snag up here. I feel like these guys are probably all top 9s, not top 6s. This guy might be a top 6, but I think I got to go with that low elite just because he's a low elite that we pinned. Even though there's a top 6 forwards and whatnot, I'd rather a low elite over top 6. So I feel like they develop better. So Oldrich Klepis, we're going to take you. We need more defensemen anyways because we are going to be likely losing Denny this offseason depending on his asking price. But Klepis is a 62 overall. That's pretty good. He doesn't actually have any abilities, which is kind of surprising for a low elite. But this guy might be a good shutdown defenseman for us. I also like that he's a right-handed shot, so that's pretty good. Okay, so let's move on to our next pick. I honestly might just auto-sim this soon. Because we're at the stage where a lot of these guys probably won't make it. Todd Romano, no weakness. Or do I go with Francois Saint-Jacques, who's 4 years out? I think I'm going to go with Francois Saint-Jacques. The 4 years out makes me feel like he might be a low lead. He honestly might be only a top 6 defenseman. There is a goaltender supposed to go around the stage, but we have so much goalies. So, yeah, let's go with Francois Saint-Jacques. Trying to find ourselves some more defensemen. Only a medium top 6, damn it. Yeah, this draft is not looking good. If there's medium top 6Ds going in the second round, then there is going to be a severe lack of depth in this draft, I think. Low top 4 or a medium top 9. Let's go with a low top 4. We need more defensive prospects, more than forward prospect-wise, so might as well add it Reness there. We'll probably take a forward at some stage, though. Quincy Cousins, what a name. Leadership ability, I like that. Gaspard Odi Marchessault. Weakness and character, eh. Let's take Quincy Cousins for the memes. 56 overall, low top 9, not great. Yeah, this is not a good draft class at all. And I don't really care too much about this draft class either. So, do we take another goalie for fun? Let's take another goalie. This guy's 20 years old already, but I'm still taking him anyways. 61 overall fringe starter for 20-year-old is not good. That kind of sucks, but oh well. Yeah, this is a really bad class. And I don't really care too much about the players we're drafting from it. Like I said, we only have like a few more seasons left. Likely none of these guys even get to play one game with us. Unless they get a lot of development within 1 year. Let's see, potential-wise. Let's take this low lead already, might as well. 49 overall. We'll see if Wilson Harrison can get into the lineup at some stage. It's funny, that guy's got 2 last names as his name, pretty much. And our last pick of this draft, which kind of went by really quickly, we'll take this guy who might be a low lead that's not supposed to get drafted. Might be a major project, but still, we'll take him. Oh, low bottom 6. Damn. That is not good. Yeah, that's probably one of the worst draft classes we've seen in quite some time. But there we go. There is our draft. At least Klepis should be pretty decent. The rest of the players are pretty much up in the air if they're actually going to make it or not. But I think Klepis is a great pick, especially considering we need defensemen for these last few years because not everybody is locked up. So let's get to the re-sign stage and see what we're working with. 2 players to re-sign. See if we have the cap space to bring mostly everybody back and that type of thing. I don't know if we're going to be able to get back this associate coach because he wants to be a head coach now. He wants to drive that ship. Let's go with that. Boom. And we got scouts to resign as well. This might be a little bit of a longer episode, but I really hope that we could just pretty much maintain our team as much as possible. I definitely think we're going to take a step back since Jorgensen decided to call it quits. And the fact that we're probably going to end up losing some players this offseason because their asking prices are probably going to be a little bit too astronomical. But you never know. Maybe we're going to be able to afford bringing back Morgan Denny after losing Jorgensen. So, because that does save us cap space. So there we go on that front. Let's get to the re-sign stage. See what we got. Maybe I'll be able to bring back some former players in free agency if we have the cap space. Glenn Cross. Let's qualify Glenn Cross in all the RFAs, I think. Yeah, let's qualify these all. Just because that's normally what I always do with the RFAs till they have UFA status, almost. And Pusher, I wouldn't mind extending him somewhat long term. Just because he's a young goalie. I'm going to try and give him 4 by 3 million. Just because he's the future. I don't know how long Novikov is going to be still here for, but let's do 4 by 3. And then these guys are all going to be Ooh, 1 year left of UFA status for both of them, I think. Yeah, I guess I could give 1 year deals to both of them. I could qualify them, but I'm just going to give them 1 year deals. I hope that we at least could hold on to some of them next year as well. UFA-wise, UFA-wise, in terms of goaltenders, we are definitely going to let go of Aiden Tays. Unfortunately, after last season, he was just completely cooked based on the playoffs and during the regular season. So his time here is done, and likely he will never come back again just because of the young goalies and stuff like that. But best of luck in free agency there, Aiden Tays. And if you don't sign anywhere, hopefully you just, I don't know, go play overseas somewhere and have a good rest of your time before you decide to call it quits. And yeah, we'll sign Hayden because he's actually looking pretty decent. 69 at 19 as a starter is pretty good. He could also sign his backup. I think I'd sign the backup over the fringe starter, so that's what we're going to do. Try and get as much of these young goalie prospects in as possible. And then in the UFA front, we have some pretty big UFAs, I think. Let's see what we got here. Let's get rid of some of these prospects that aren't going to develop. 66 at 20 is not bad, but actually, maybe I will sign him and let go of somebody else in the AHL. Somebody like Allison, probably. And then we'll see if we could sign some of these other guys. They all want one-way deals. I hate it when they do that. That's the one thing I don't like about Drafty Glories is the asking prices on some of these guys. So I'm going to have to write down these names potentially for the start of the next episode. So let me just grab a pen and write down some player names, because I'll write down all these names and then there's a chance that we'll bring some of them back if they're free agents still at the start of next episode. But there is a good chance we're going to lose out on bringing back a lot of these guys. So we got DeMarchi, who is a left winger. Let me write that down. DeMarchi. We got Burns as well. Stanley Burns, who just won a Calder Cup. All these guys won Calder Cups, and that's probably why they all want a lot of money. Tate Ackers is also gone, former Stanley Cup champion. Ryder, I think it's Ryder Heward. I'm just gonna write down R. Heward, but I'm pretty sure it's Ryder. And then also Keegan Strachan probably might be gone for now. I don't really know. Like, the asking prices on these guys aren't super expensive. I could bring some of them back. But when we have the Morgan Denny to sign, oh my goodness, Morgan Denny, you're not worth $16 million for having one good year, man. Yeah, Morgan Denny, there's no way I'm paying you $16 million for having one really good season. He's 25, I get that, but like, look at this. Like, he goes up by 40 plus points. Like, he's probably going to be good again next year, but like, I can't justify paying him $15 million at all. That's like half of the cap space we have left. So, yeah, I think he's definitely gone. LaRose thinks he's worth $7 million. I can't really afford that either. And Bouwmeester thinks he's worth $8 million. I might keep Bouwmeester, but what is these asking prices? Jeez. Let's get Hagos back because I know I'm going to need Hagos. I honestly might get back a lot of those $1.3 million kind of contract guys because I don't think there's any way I'm going to be paying that big amount of money to some of those other guys. Wow. I didn't expect him to ask that much. Strachan, $3 million bucks. He's probably going to be there at the start of next season. Yeah, I think I'm going to let go of Strachan as well for now. Just because that asking price is a little bit high for a 78. It should come back down. So, best of luck in free agency there, Strachan. We probably will win to bring you back. And then, yeah, I'll give a lot of these guys that want 1.3. Because some of them might actually end up being in our lineup next season. I don't think I'm going to bring back Ackers or Heward, though. But, oh my goodness. Why do they want so much money? Why do they want so much? That's like astronomically high. Well, you take $8 million for 1 year, and then LaRose, I will give you a 1 year deal as well at your asking price, but just because you're probably going to be in our top 6 next season. And then, yeah, I think Morgan Denny's time here is done. Just because his asking price is way too ridiculous. Let's advance today, see if we get everybody back that we offered contracts to. But yeah, I think our team is definitely going to take a big hit for sure. Let's see. LaRose rejected. Acker's in here, and I'm going to let you guys walk already. Jeez, this is ridiculous, this asking prices. $20 million in cap space still. Like, when you're paying almost $8 million to an 82 overall, that's a bit of a problem. Do we not have the contract space to get McDonald in, or what? Let's see, I'll try and offer him again. And all those guys are qualified. Yeah, okay. Let's advance. See what we got here. See if LaRose accepts. Like, Morgan Denny is a great player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's worth that much amount of money for one good season. And it looks like LaRose wants to test the free agent market as well, which means I probably can't get him back. Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. We're going to have to let go of Denny and the LaRose as well. And hope that there's a former player like Bickle in free agency or something like that we could re-sign, because our forward core is going to take a major hit. Losing Jorgensen, then losing LaRose. Best of luck in free agency there, LaRose. And also Morgan Denny. There's no way I could pay you that much amount of money. Sure, it makes our team much worse, but I can't pay that much amount of money to guys. And apparently, I guess I can't bring in McDonald because we have too much goaltenders. Let me try that again just to see. Let's see if he accepts now. Roster is full. Oh, man, that sucks. Oh, well. All these guys shouldn't take up too much cap space, so we'll have a lot of cap space to bring in former players if there's any in free agency. But for right now, I am kind of worried a little bit, especially about our defensive core. Because now Danner's contract's looking like a big steal, considering Bouwmeester's making $8 million. But our defensive core right now, we have like 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's a low elite. Oh boy, let's sign Tulabov, because Tulabov honestly might be in our lineup next season. I didn't even look at our unsigned guys yet. See who I wanted to sign. Tulabov definitely got that contract. That's worth it. Klepis already should probably get a contract since he's close to the NHL. Other guys, not so much. Goalie-wise, no. There's obviously no goalies I could sign yet anyways. Okay, so there's that. Tulipov honestly might be in our lineup next season as a defenseman because how weak our defensive core is looking like, unless there's a former player in free agency, which would be nice. But and we lose our NHL associate coach apparently because he didn't accept my contract, and the AHL head coach as well left. Well, that kind of sucks, but oh well. I'll let the AI figure that stuff out. I don't really care too much about the coaching staff other than Joe Thornton. Okay, let's see what we got for former players in free agency. See if there's any big guys. Any former players hitting the free agent market? Oh man, that's funny. That is hilarious, actually. The high franchise guy, Lukowicz, he's a 21-year-old RFA. He wants $16 million in the Calgary Flames. Either they can't afford him, or he's asking for less money than Morgan Denny is, which makes no sense. But Morgan Denny thinks he's worth more than a high franchise forward. That's weird. Let's see each position, see if there's any former players out there that we could bring back. Because if not, we might be in a bad state. Byron Farrell. That's not a bad option to bring back. Huh. Byron Farrell. Do I bring back Byron Farrell? It's a bit of a high asking price. Oh, but Valery Zykov. He's back there. He doesn't want that much. I'm going to bring back Valery Zykov. I would prioritize him over Farrell because Zykov was one of the original guys here. He's going to probably drop off a lot, so hopefully he is okay with that offer. Let's see. Hopefully there's more former players too. Malik Reinhardt's back in free agency, but $3 million for a fourth liner. It's a bit steep, so I can't bring him back. Any other former players still there in free agency to start off this free agent period? Does not look like it really. There might be some at the start of the season though. Left wing wise, Frederick Bickle's back there, but he wants $11 million. We have technically the cap space. We'd be down to $4 million to sign all our RFAs if we bring him and Bickle back. I might honestly give Bickle what he's asking for if there's nobody else. I know it seems weird because I just let go of a player that made break money and stuff like that, but our defensive core, though, is the main problem, so we should probably address defense. We should probably address the defensive core. Yeah, we might have to address the defensive core with that cap space if there's any former defenders. Which, who knows, maybe there is some former defenseman of us that we used to have. Both the Roachers are in free agency. This was the guy that... No, that wasn't the guy. This was the guy, right? No, it was a different DeRocher. Must have been in my other series. I can't remember. There was a DeRocher that was really good, though. Defenseman. Let's see what we got. Any former defenders other than Denny? Does not look like it, unfortunately. So even though we need to target defense, I don't think we're going to be able to find any defensemen with our asking, or with the amount of cap space we have. Yep, there's no former defenseman here that is worth any money. Well, that's not good. That does mean I think I will bring back Bickle, though, because it could be the last year of his contract, or his career, too. Yeah, let's bring back Bickle. Let's bring back Bickle. His asking price might be high, but we might as well bring back 2 former forwards with the cap space we have to at least give us maybe a better shot at outscoring our problems, because our defensive core is going to be astronomically weak. So let's advance a few days and see if we get those 2 guys, Bickle and Zykov, back in Anchorage. Zykov accepts. So there's Zykov, and Bickle has accepted as well. So welcome back to the 2 of those guys. But our defensive core, oh my goodness, is going to be terrible. We got $5 million still in cap space, but look at our forward core now. We have Keith, Hartnell, Parrott, Bickle, Darby, Bobkov, Claxon, Zykov, Hagos, Vico, Lucic, Sabrin, and then a lot of other 77s that could be in the lineup. Defensively, we do not have a good defensive core at all. We got these 4. We got Tulipov, and then likely we're going to be playing like a 60 overall defenseman as a top 6. Unless we bring in Strachan again at the start of next season. But, oof. Yeah, this is not going to be a fun time this season, I don't think, defensively. Like, the goalies aren't probably going to do that well, but who knows? Who knows? Some of our RFAs are already accepting. That's good. Hopefully, we'll have the cap space to bring back a defenseman if Strachan is still there. Because if we don't have the cap space to bring back Strachan, yeah, our defensive core is not looking too good, but at least our offensive core is looking good. Because our offensive core definitely looks like he could win a cup, but our defensive core probably not so much. But let me actually get out of the edit lines screen for a second. I will probably edit the lines after this episode instead of during this episode. But let me go to free agents first here and see if our boy is still there on the defensive front. So let's go defense, sort by overall. Let's see, we're looking for a 78. Looking for our boy in Mr. Strachan. Is he still a free agent? Mikhail Kalinin is, and he doesn't have a high asking price. Yeah, I might actually bring back Kalinin, and we'll bring back Kalinin as one of the defenders. Try and fix up our defense core. We actually might be okay this season, considering we're bringing in some good former players. As long as we can get this defensive core to being where we want it. But it looks like Strachan must have signed somewhere, unless I missed him. Yeah, I must have missed him. He must have signed somewhere. Let me just sort by alphabetical. Or let's actually just go to the search function and see if he actually signed somewhere. Because if he signed somewhere already, then Kalinin's our only guy, I guess, that we're going to be able to sign. Let's see, Strachan. Boom. And no, he's still a free agent. He is still a free agent, apparently. He's a 77 now, though, and he has a high asking price of $3 million, apparently, still. Which means I might have to wait a little bit still to offer him a contract because we don't have a lot of cap space. Let's see. Is he still asking for $3 million bucks? 77 overall now. That sucks that he's dipping down a little bit. Oh, there he is. No, he's actually only asking for 1.375, so we'll bring him back too. And almost that makes our defensive core somewhat realistic. Let's advance just a few days, get those guys signed, and then that'll be probably it for this episode at that point. Strachan and Kalinin have accepted. Let's just do our roster moves and see what we're working with for the season. So obviously we're going to go to defense. We're going to call up Kalinin and Strachan. We're going to go to the NHL here, and we're going to send down Tulipov and Spruev, because those guys should probably spend longer in the AHL. Go best lines, and I'm not going to set up our lines yet, but I will set those up at the start of next episode. But basically what we're working with, if we go to roster moves here, what we're working with it, so you guys could know at least, we got these 5 guys. We got a lot of wingers, and especially on the left wing side, not a lot of right wingers. And then there's a defensive core now, so it's definitely getting weaker, but Strachan and Kalinin help it out a little bit. And then there's our goaltending. Pusher has taken over as a starting role from Novikov. So there's that. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll set up our lines. We'll simulate the entire season. We'll see if this team can make it to the playoffs without Jorgensen, or if maybe our window has officially closed. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.